Hey guys, Jarek here. Welcome to my gun guide for the P90. As a disclaimer, this footage may not be amazing. My team is getting spawn trapped on the map Bank Job, as is always the case with Bank Job on Conquest Large. I don't know why this map is in the rotation for this game mode, but it is, and the result is always spawn destruction. One team will always get spawn trapped for the whole duration of the game, and what would usually last 30 to 40 minutes is just 10 minutes of can't get out of your spawn. So if the footage isn't amazing, I apologize. The P90 is a criminal-only weapon, purchasable at the beginning of the game for $30,000. This is kind of pricey, so you might need to save up. It shouldn't take you that long though. The P90's max damage is 25, which means you will be 4-shotting people. Most other PDWs have a max damage of 34, which means they will 3-shot, so you might be losing to some other PDWs. Its minimum damage is 12, which isn't very good, but its damage drop-off start is 20 meters, which exceeds most other PDWs. In fact, the only other PDW that comes close in this regard is the FMG9, which damage drop-off starts at 25 meters, it ends at 35, whereas the P90's ends at 40, so this kind of evens out. On top of that, the FMG9's max damage is 21, which isn't very good compared to the 25 of the P90. So as of right now, the P90 wins out as the best ranged PDW. I do know the FMG9 is going to be seeing a buff in the next patch, but we can only speak for right now, as the next patch only says limited information. Like for instance, the FMG9 apparently is going to be maxing the damage of the P90 at 25, but they also said they're going to be pushing the damage drop-off start, so who knows, maybe the FMG9 will become better, but as of right now, that's not the case. The P90 has one of the better fire rates in the PDW class at 900 rounds per minute, but since it takes 4 shots to kill instead of 3 like most other PDWs, this kind of evens out. Its muzzle velocity is very good at 460 meters per second. This is tied with the MPX for the best muzzle velocity out of any PDW. Its muzzle velocity slows down a lot to 280 meters per second when suppressed, so it's probably not in your best interest to run suppressed. I occasionally do in this video because I like to run suppressed a lot, but I ended up switching to the long barrel anyway. Its magazine size is very good at 51 rounds. Its reload times are a little on the slow side, 2.5 for the short reload, 3 seconds for the long, but with the 51 round magazine size, this ultimately won't harm you. Its recoil is almost non-existent, it's amazing. 0.3 to the left, 0.3 to the right, 0.22 up. Left and right cancel each other out, and 0.2 is very minimum, so you won't have much recoil if at all with the P90. But unfortunately, the P90 has a bad full auto spread, so keep in mind, you don't want to hold the trigger down, try to tap fire it. So with all of these stats out of the way, what does it all mean? It means the P90 is going to have a fairly average time to kill amongst other PDWs at 204 milliseconds, and it will be outmatched up close since most other PDWs take 3 shots to kill compared to the 4 shots to kill that the P90 takes. With this said, the P90 will kill in 4 shots up to 20 meters away, 5 shots up to 26 meters away, and 6 shots all the way up to 33 meters away, which for a PDW is very good. It is true that the MPX can kill in 5 shots up to 26 meters away, but the MPX's damage drops off like a rock, whereas the P90 is much more consistent. The P90 is the most effective PDW in that awkward distance between when PDWs are very effective and where assault rifles are very effective. So keep a little bit of distance between you and your enemy, but don't try to snipe them. And don't try to get up in their face. In my experience, most of the time I just lost other PDWs in that situation. The P90 doesn't have as many good choices for attachments as other PDWs in the game. For optics, you can use anything up to a 4x scope, though I would recommend some sort of a red dot. You can get away with an ACOG since this does have some range, but I wouldn't recommend it. For accessory, ignore the tack light and flashlight, and you really only have the choice between the canted red dot sight and the laser. I would recommend the laser. And for muzzle, again, you have a lot of choices, but only one seemed to work fairly well. A muzzle brake and compensator are pointless because it doesn't really recoil that much, barely at all. The flash hider is useful, I mean you can't go wrong with it, but it doesn't really benefit your weapon in any way other than getting rid of the muzzle flash. The suppressor didn't seem to work very well since up close other PDWs tend to win, so you can make it work and you can use it, but it's one of the few weapons where I wouldn't really advise using a suppressor on it. In my experience, what seemed to work the best was the heavy barrel. The P90 is fairly accurate, and if you tap fire it, you can really get away with shooting people at a distance, which usually you can't do this with a P90. So my preferred loadout was a Cobra red dot sight, a laser, and a heavy barrel. So where does that leave us with the P90? Well, it's not one of the best guns in the game, but it's also not terrible either. It's kind of average across the board. It does excel in medium range combat, but again, it's definitely not one of the best PDWs in the game. To put an analogy out there, this isn't your all-star, but this isn't a garbage time player either, it's just a role player. It simply works, and that's really all I have to say about it. You can try it, you can get away with a little bit of spray and pray due to the deep magazine, but don't be expecting to go full ham mode like you would with the K10 or something like that. I still have fun with it, I still enjoy it, I don't dislike it or really love it in any way whatsoever. It's a viable choice, and there's not much more to say. Hope you guys have enjoyed this gun guide, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm keeping that.
Fuck you. Fucking jumping it across a hallway.
Jumping is a very legitimate strategy in this game.